Have you ever wondered how the government really works? Most people know there are three branches, but do you know why they exist or how they keep each other in check? Here's a shocking fact: only about 26% of Americans can name all three branches of government. That means most people don't fully understand how their own country is run. Our journey starts with breaking down these branches: the executive, legislative, and judicial. Each has its own unique power and responsibility. Did you know that a US president has the power to issue executive orders that can change policies overnight? Or that the Supreme Court can strike down any law it finds unconstitutional, even if the majority of people support it? In this video, we'll dive into the hidden workings of each branch. You'll discover the intricate dance of power known as checks and balances. We'll explore real-life examples showing how these branches interact, sometimes clashing in dramatic ways. So, if you're ready to uncover the secrets of how government truly works, join us on this enlightening journey. By the end, you'll have a clearer picture of the forces shaping our world every day. Let's get started. Chapter 1: Blueprint of Power, the Skeleton of Government. Have you ever wondered how a country stays organized and functioning? It all starts with the structure of its government. Let's break it down simply. Most governments are based on three main branches: the executive, legislative, and judicial. Each plays a crucial role, much like parts of a skeleton that hold a body upright and operational. The executive branch acts as the head, leading the country and making decisions. Picture the president or prime minister as the CEO of a big company, but instead of products, they manage national policies and public services. This branch also includes various departments like defense, education, and transportation, which handle specific areas vital for the country's daily operations. Moving on, the legislative branch is like the arms, reaching out to different communities to gather opinions and needs. This branch makes the laws. It's where elected representatives debate and vote on new rules that will govern the land. It's fascinating to think about how a single idea from a small town can become a law affecting the whole nation. Then there's the judicial branch, the backbone, ensuring that all laws are fair and upheld. This includes everything from the Supreme Court down to local courts. It's their job to interpret the laws and make sure everyone plays by the rules. It's a huge responsibility to keep justice in balance. Each branch has a unique power and responsibility, and they must work together to keep the government stable and effective. For instance, did you know that while the president can veto a bill to stop it from becoming a law, the legislative branch can override this veto with enough votes? This balance ensures that no single part of the government becomes too powerful. Chapter 2: Command Central, Decoding the Executive. Now, let's zoom in on the executive branch. This branch isn't just about one person in charge, it's a vast network of individuals and officers that implement laws and oversee the country's day-to-day operations. The president or prime minister often gets the spotlight, but the team includes thousands of people working behind the scenes. One key role is the cabinet, a group of advisors that help the leader make informed decisions. Each member of the cabinet oversees a specific department, such as finance or health, providing insights and updates on pressing issues. Their meetings can determine the course of national policy, affecting everything from economic strategies to public health plans. Did you know that the first known cabinet meeting in the US occurred under George Washington in 1791? Yet, this practice dates back even further in other countries, evolving from royal councils that advised monarchs. The executive also has the power to issue executive orders, which are direct commands that do not require approval from the legislative branch. These can be powerful tools for immediate action. For instance, Franklin D. Roosevelt issued over 3,700 executive orders during his presidency, the most by any US president. Moreover, the executive plays a critical role in foreign affairs, negotiating treaties, and hosting international leaders. It's a role that combines diplomacy with strategy, often under intense global scrutiny. Understanding the executive branch reveals just how complex and critical its functions are in maintaining not only the law and order of a country but also its relationships on the global stage. Each decision can ripple out, affecting millions of lives. By delving into these branches, we begin to see the intricate web of checks and balances that underpin a functioning government. It's a system designed to ensure that power is distributed and regulated, keeping any single branch from having too much control. Chapter 3: Voice of the People, the Legislative Labyrinth. The legislative branch is where the voice of the people gets heard and transformed into tangible action. Think of it as a giant forum, where representatives from all walks of life come together to debate, negotiate, and craft the laws that govern society. It's not just about arguing points, it's about reaching agreements that serve the whole country. In the US, for example, the legislative branch is split into two parts, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Each state gets 2 senators, no matter its size, while the number of representatives is based on the state's population. This system is designed to balance the power between large and small states. Did you know that the idea of a bicameral, two-chamber, legislature comes from ancient Rome? It's not a new concept but one that has proven effective over centuries. The Romans had the Senate and the Assembly, each with different roles, much like today's systems in many countries. One of the most interesting aspects of the legislative process is how a bill becomes a law. It can start from a simple idea that any citizen proposes to their representative. Then, it needs to pass through committees, debates, votes in both chambers, and finally, get the approval of the executive branch. The journey of a bill is long and full of obstacles, which ensures that only well-vetted laws are enacted. A surprising statistic is that only about 4% of proposed bills become law in the US Congress. This shows just how selective the process is, filtering out proposals that may not benefit the majority. Chapter 4: Judges and Juries, the Guardians of Justice. Moving on to the judicial branch, this is where the laws are interpreted and enforced. It's the guardian of the Constitution and the final arbitrator in disputes. The courts hold a crucial role in ensuring that no law or executive action goes against the country's supreme legal document. At the top is the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. In the United States, it consists of 9 justices who serve lifetime appointments. This ensures they are free from political pressures and can make decisions based on the law and their conscience. One fascinating aspect of the judicial system is the concept of judicial review, established in the landmark case Marbury v. Madison in 1803. This case set the precedent that courts could declare laws unconstitutional, effectively giving the judicial branch a powerful check on the other branches. The judicial process is also notable for its independence. Judges often make decisions that go against popular opinion or the government's wishes. For example, in 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Brown v. Board of Education that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional, a decision that dramatically changed American society. Globally, there are numerous examples of judicial courage. In India, the Supreme Court once ruled that the airwaves are public property, a decision that led to the deregulation of the broadcast industry and increased freedom of the press. Each decision from the judiciary can have wide-ranging impacts, from civil rights to economic policies, and is a testament to the crucial balancing act performed by this branch. Understanding these two branches sheds light on the democratic process, showing the complex interplay of negotiation and law enforcement that keeps a country running smoothly. It's a dynamic and often challenging balance, but one that is vital for a fair and just society. Chapter 5: Checks and Balances, the Tug of War. In a well-designed government, no one branch should have too much power. This is where the system of checks and balances comes into play. It's like a game of tug of war, where each branch pulls against the others to maintain a balance of power. This system ensures that decisions benefiting the whole country are made. For instance, while the president can veto bills from the legislative branch, Congress can override this veto with a 2/3 majority vote. This push and pull is vital in preventing any single branch from overriding the others or becoming too dominant. It's fascinating to see how these mechanisms operate in real time, especially during major legislative battles. Did you know that the concept of checks and balances was inspired by the philosophies of Montesquieu, a French social commentator? His ideas were revolutionary in the 18th century and have since shaped many democratic governments around the world. One of the key strengths of this system is its ability to slow down the process of making or changing laws. While this might seem inefficient, it actually ensures that all new laws are carefully considered and debated, reflecting the needs and views of the entire society, not just a select few. Chapter 6: From Theory to Practice, Government in Action. Finally, understanding how government functions in theory is one thing, but seeing it in action is another. Every day, decisions made by the government branches impact millions of lives. Whether it's passing new laws, executing policy, or interpreting the legality of those actions, each branch has a significant role in shaping the future of the nation. For example, consider recent debates over healthcare reform. These discussions often involve all three branches. The legislative branch crafts the law, the executive signs or vetoes it, and the judicial might be called upon to judge its constitutionality if challenged. Current events provide clear examples of this system at work. Take, for instance, the executive orders on immigration. These orders can quickly change the lives of millions, showcasing the executive's power to effect immediate change, while the judiciary's role in reviewing these orders highlights its power to uphold or overturn them based on constitutional principles. Interestingly, despite the independence of the branches, they must collaborate. This interdependency ensures that the government remains responsive to the changes and needs of its citizens. It's a dynamic and complex interaction, often played out in the public eye, making politics not just about policies but also about the people behind them.